What the hell's up, guys? It's Matt. Just walking around a motherfucking parking lot. I just decided to come up here. So there's no car noise, there's no loud wind, and I thought to myself I'd record a video. I've been dealing with quite a few things. I wanted to make this a happy one, actually. And one day it will happen, because it happened about 5 times since my video series started on YouTube. I'd say about out of 13 maybe. Straight up happy video, except for the ending where I'd grow saddened and worried and just tired in my head, you know? And then that would lessen. The happiness would lessen, and what I perceive as my hypothetical truth would come out. So let's talk. I've been contemplating the thought of rejecting societal conformity way more than I previously have, which is about, oh dear, it's that time in your life where you start to question, this is what is really important and this is what is not. And I've had quite a few of those, but none have really hit like this one. Because see, the truth is when you conform to reality, it's kind of saddening, isn't it? Just turn around. It's kind of saddening, isn't it? It's kind of a depressing thing, I think. And almost everyone does it, which just trips me out. You go on YouTube and, you know, okay, so entertainment, it works on finding the right factor, finding the right moment, finding the right idea, and then just capitalizing upon it. And the truth is we grow accustomed to that. We grow used to that idea. And that's our base instinct in life, is settling and figuring out who we are meant to be. But what would be ideal is who we are. But it's never really like that. Not for a lot. And what's trippy about it is that when your mind focuses on the truth, some people, they grow stagnant. Some people, they grow happy. Some people, they grow depressed. I'd say I'm more in the understanding, which would be the fourth category. But ultimately, as long as your mind perceives the usual, it either accepts the usual and works to be the usual, or it diverts from the usual. Of course, as these are the only two options theoretically. But it's fascinating in a way. It's really fascinating. And, you know, to tell the truth, I'm quite enthralled by the idea that deep down we all have so much uniqueness and so much value to ourselves that it's kind of insanity, you know? But it's not really capitalized upon, and that's fascinating in its own way. Because, well, if we people are pure in our ideological concept, then we are free in our reality, but it doesn't come off that way. Even though it's gotten a bit better as of late, it's gotten worse as well. Individually, I feel it's gotten better compared to maybe like 5-10 years ago, but societally it's gotten worse. And, you know, we all seek quick entertainment nowadays. We all seek our minds being fulfilled and our minds being entertained and made to be happy through the scroll of a finger, through checking out social media or so on. And you know, the truth is in my mind, and outside of it, I am the exact same way, but there's always this kind of what's the word? When you stagnate and then you start to realize it, and then you want to get better at what you're stagnating at, well, it's kind of like that. It's the truth is we're meant to be fruitful, honest, kind creatures, and instead we're kind of like that. But when it comes to being in groups, that's when everything changes. When it comes to being perceived by a group, that's when everything changes, you know? And that's kind of frightening. That's kind of maddening in its own way as well, you know? I've been to kind of branch off of that and go into what I've been dealing with. There are voices in my psyche that have served to be cumbersome to me. They work off of an aspect of mental manipulation. That's an inherently sad thing, but I've been learning to deal with it. I've been learning to manage it, which is quite amazing in its own right, in its own respect. And the truth is I've, through this process of dealing with this for the last year, as they work off of a baseline, I've noticed that. They work off of, there's the baseline, and then worsening the mentality of a person is seen as the progression. When dealing with this, I've learned a lot of things about myself. I feel like the mind is kind of like shifts to being its status quo. It kind of works toward being its status quo. And it's because of that we are all accustomed and pertain to settling in that position, settling in that mindset. And you know, it's actually kind of a massive realization when you kind of realize that you do that, you know, like subconsciously. I never had it in middle school and high school, but I did have it after the fact, although it came very subconsciously to me, just kind of activated when I was like 19. I just kind of realized, hey, you know, maybe I am conforming much more than I am actually being myself. And that was a moment, because while it didn't immediately completely hit, it eventually kind of completely did. As now I am, well, walking in a parking lot, I'm not feeling overly anxious, even though there's no one around. I'd actually be paranoid like that before, you know? Even though there's no one around, I am my own lonesome self, I'm still not scared of what I'm saying. Because before, these are ideas I might have perceived, but these are ideas I would have been scared of. And you want to know what the truth is? Our minds are meant to warrant the truth, but they're meant to accommodate the societal perception of the notion that we have less value that we tend to think we have. That's a depressive state, while the other one is an optimistic state. We kind of all deal with that, you know, until you actually make something out of yourself in not only your eyes, but for a lot of people, it's society's eyes as well. You kind of see the truth at that point, but you kind of see a lie as well, because the ultimate point is happiness within yourself. And while people achieve that in different ways, we all achieve it ultimately in one way, and that is by being satisfied with what we have done. People who think that monetary value will seek you to greater success are actually kind of they're telling the truth in a strict comfort, like in the sense of comfort, because you don't want to end up homeless, right? We run on a capitalist system. But past the point is just a lie. That's what trips me out about it. Is past the point is just a goddamn lie. Like, being a billionaire is probably the saddest shit. And I'm serious about that. And a lot of people would actually agree with that statement. But I feel like that's a beautiful goddamn thing. If you want to go into the details of what it is that it would actually mean to someone deep down, then some people it could probably be a bit more petty. Some people it would be a lot more real. I'd like to think, and I'd probably think that a lot of people it would be the more real, you know? I think I'm recording on my phone. I hope so. It's a good video. Now, the truth is we are stuck in our societal perception sometimes, but then a lot of people break out of it, and that's amazing. I did it with my mentality. Shrooms actually fucked me up in that way. Marijuana fucked me up in that way. Because I deal with a case of, well, on the surface, it is a very clear-cut case of psychosis. So there's that. And the truth is I've grown to be accepting of it, because in my mind I am accepting of nearly everything, even though I disagree with a lot of things, even though I am like, I reject a lot of concepts when I disagree with them, but I don't not understand them, I just don't pertain to them. And that's the point, is that deep down in our mentalities, we all have purpose. Even though a lot of us just serve to ruin things, there is an undeniable ideal goal and a reality set forward within us regardless. So purpose might not be the exact word, but it's a pretty good word to use, because to the soul holder of the consciousness, that is the thing, is purpose, you know. And the truth is we're all, like, the concept is kind of gorgeous at times, kind of awful and wretched in others, but ultimately it all links to the same deal. It all links to the same truth, which is that we are meant to be, but we are sometimes not kind in being. And furthermore, we are accustomed to our minds in the moments where we are not kind in being. And that's frightening, because it's almost always like that. And oh, no way, it's not. I mean, look, like, you see like a school shooter like scenario or something, because you don't see it, you hear about it. You hear about a school shooter scenario, and that's someone that's inherently troubled like 100% of the time, you know. And then they just go and do the most fucked up shit, and then they deserve jail time for life, which they do, of course. But what does it really mean? to not feel comfort in that situation? And what does it mean to do it out of a lack of understanding of humanity and of kindness and so on? I've thought about that here and there. And you know, the truth is it's kind of crazy, but it's kind of, while insanely blasphemous in its actions, it is saddening that anyone would hurt anyone else. I think it's the utmost of saddening. And then the system takes place. And while I usually don't agree with it completely, I agree with its general ideology, idea, and direction. Not direction, but certain pathways, yes. But in moments like that, it's almost of a necessity, but you just kind of wish that that would have never happened by that person being able to heal themselves, you know? Kind of a zany subject, but it's the truth. Because, I mean, we villainize all the time. We persecute in society based on either very major things which would be hurting others, or sometimes quite minor things, which are just someone like freaking out in a mall or something when they could just get therapy or figure themselves out, which I know it's not that easy, but ideally it would be more easy than it is. Ideally, we would have more access to our consciousness and to our thinking to the point that we could actually figure something like that out, you know? Like all of us. To the point that by the time you reach 12, maturity would set in, and that wouldn't be a problem anymore. And yeah, I think that's about what I've got to say, because time's kind of running out on this shit. Also, I've been gaining weight. I'm kind of sad about it. I'm pretty sad about it. That's one thing, like, I'll work on pretty my whole life by taking walks, but it's not being mitigated very well at all, which kind of sucks, you know. But as long as I can think, and as long as I can be, and as long as I can realize my truths, then I am happy. Thank you all. Thank you, beautiful people, and farewell.